So finally, we arrived at the panel discussion. So today's topic is learning artificial intelligence. And my first question is, would you like to get a microphone? Yeah, so we'll start one by one. And can you, in a few sentences, tell us about your background, why you are learning artificial intelligence, what were you doing before you started attending workshops, and for how long are you studying in Vilnius School of AI workshops?
All right, so hello, I'm Donatas. I'm a student at Vilnius University, and I'm also a junior machine learning engineer at Vinted. So I started my AI journey a long way before, but the real journey started when I joined Vilnius School of AI, and I was with the beginning batch of the Vilnius School of AI students, so I got to go through the full course of B class, and now I'm going through the A class. And AI for me is very interesting. It's a fascinating technology, and I see that it can change a lot of aspects of life, and that's basically why I learn it, because I want to see what it can do and how can I use it to do things I want to do.
All right, thanks. Can you pass it? Can you pass the mic to Rolandas?
Can we talk in Lithuanian?
I guess let's stay. Do we have any English speakers today? So we can mix it up. If you like, whatever is your preferred language, talk in the language which you like.
Tai programavimo patirtis pas mane prieš pradedant gan maža buvo, su PHP, gal labiau. Ir šiaip manau per šitos užsiėmimus gal daugiau išmokau programuoti, apskritai negu šiaip mokėjau iki tol. O kodėl jaunius tikrai buvo įdomu, ar iš vis įmanoma, ta prasme, ar gali robotas bent jau kažkiek priartėti prie žmogaus, kol kas yra aišku, kad gal dar labai toli iki to, kuo daugiau mokaisi, to labiau supranti, kad tai yra biškai sudėtingas dalykas. Gal pasikartojančius dalykus jis ir galės padaryti, bet jeigu tai skirsis dalykų, tai robotas nelabai galės padaryti. Na ir šiaip įdomus dalykas, gan sudėtingas, gal dėl to ir įdomus. Turbūt pagrindinis dalykas smalsumas, kuris mane paskatino pradėti mokytis dirbtinį intelektą.
So, hello. I'll try in English because let's improve English. I can't speak Lithuanian, so. My name is Gintautas. I'm kind of a student and I'm junior software engineer. I decided to start learning AI because I have a few ideas of my own and I like to try a few startup ideas. And I think that AI will dominate the world as websites began dominating in the 20s. So I'm thinking the AI will be the next great thing, as a lot of people are now thinking like the great minds of Andrew Ng or Suraj Raval and many others. So that's it, basically.
Hello, my name is Aista. When I started learning Vilnius School of AI, I had 1 year experience in programming and only PHP programming. So I started from class C, where I learned Python, and currently I'm on class B. And I started in learning in autumn, so it's less than a year now. And I wanted to study AI because I was fascinated about the subject, but I didn't know much about it. And I didn't really knew where could I find information about it, so I just basically wanted to know more about it, and I found this opportunity really great because it's for free and you get like structured information. So that's all.
Hello, my name is Justinas. I'm working for the last couple of years as an engineer in energy distribution operator, ESO. So it is responsible for the electricity and gas networks here in Lithuania. And I joined the AI basically because I wanted to learn programming. So I started from the bottom, from the D class. I started in the last October, and currently I progressed towards class B. So I graduated the first D class, and then you can skip C class, and then join straight B class, so which is data scientist class. So yeah, and why if I can learn programming and AI as well, so why not? So I mean, all the better. Yeah.
Great. So thank you. Let me introduce you to, so you now know our participants. Let me tell you how we are going to make this discussion work. So I'm going to ask questions. I have like a list of like 10 or so questions, but I would very much like that we get some questions from the audience. I know that you have something which you want to talk about. So it's all going to be like, we have these 5 panel speakers, but it's all about all of you participating. You see, we don't have like a lot of people today, so it's like very nice and intimate. So if you have a question or a comment, or just you want to state your opinion, so raise your hand and I'll ask you to speak. Is that clear? Can we do a unit test? Can I get a raise of hands from everybody? Yay, so unit test passes at 90%. Not bad. Right, so do anybody have a question which you like brought from home and you want to ask right now? All right, I have. So let's start with my question. My question is about learning. So it's, learning artificial intelligence. It's in the name. So first of all, what was the most useful resource for learning AI? And I would like to ask, so I'm not going to ask everybody the same question. So this question is for Aiste.
I think the most useful resource was Kaggle courses because it has the most clear information and I don't know, I just find them easy to read, and also all the theory comes together with tasks, so you can read and do tasks, and they are pretty easily learned.
All right, cool. So can you pass the mic to Donatas? I have the same question for Donatas as well.
Okay, so I think I would separate 2 levels. If you know nothing about machine learning, then yeah, Kaggle has a lot of great introductory tutorials. They're pretty simple and they're easy to follow, and you get a lot of practice. And if you have some knowledge or know-how how to do it, then FastAI. FastAI is a very interesting course where a guy in an hour tells you how to beat the top competitions. And that's like, what? Wow? How? So it's an amazing course, and I'd recommend that if you know how to do some machine learning, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, great answer. I'd like to comment a little bit on that. So FastAI is amazing, and if you start with FastAI knowing nothing at all, it would seem that AI is this field which you kind of get figured out in, 10 hours of learning. It turns out that after finishing the course, you still have to spend a lot of time to be production ready. So just a bit of a cautionary warning. FastAI is amazing, really love this course. That's why it's in the program, but it's not going to be sufficient to get a job in deep learning field. Right, great. So my next question is for Rolandas and Gindutas, one by one. So what was the most important thing for your learning success? And this I mean, what did you do something special, assign like an hour every day, or did everything just the last night before the meetups?
Šiaip pats toksai svarbiausias dalykas, aišku, visą laiką jį girdėjai, kad, pačioj netgi mums susitikus, sakei, kad pradėkit daryti projektus. Ir kai tik tai jau ten 3 kokie mėnesiai praėjo, tik tai tada, aišku, pasidarė, kad jo reikės pradėti gal daryti nuo pat pradžių, netgi nieko nežinant. Ir tai yra svarbiausias dalykas, kurį jau ten tik tai jau pusės metų supratau. O visi kiti jie tik tai tada ir pasidaro svarbus, kai pradedi daryti tos projektus. Taip jau yra. Bet kad suprasti tą ir pradėti iškart juos daryti, čia turbūt kiekvienam tas yra ir atrodo, kad tu turi kažką išmokti, nors iš tikrųjų ne, tu kaip geriau išmokysi, jeigu bandysi, kad ir belenkai, bet bus svarbiau. Tai va, čia svarbiausias dalykas.
Jo, čia yra paradoksalus dalykas, kad...
Jo, jis visą laiką ką bedarytum būna ir taip keista, ir girdi jau ne pirmą kartą visą dalyką, pradėjo kažkokį projektą ir tikrai nėra ten svarbu, kad kiek tu žinai, svarbu, kad pradedi kažką ir tada jau kapstais ir tada jau daugiausiai informacijos gauni. O taip, tai tiesą sakant, ta visa informacija, kurią ten teko pražiūrėti, jinai jau užsimiršo ir jau senai dingus. Tai toks gavosi netgi geriausia būtų turbūt paimta, pačią pradžią, pasiėmi tą pirmą competitioną, ir bandai, kažką išmokai, kažką parašai competitioną, kažką išmokai, vėl kažką parašai, ir taip mokasi, tai būtų mano tobuliausia, bet, čia reikia turbūt jau kažkokių sugebėjimų.
Jo, čia reikia sugebėjimo numatyti ateitį, kad tikrai tai bus geriau ir tikėti, kad kai aš taip sakau, kad do that, visi žmonės galvoja, ne, jis tikriausiai čia turi visus kitus omeny, tik ne mane.
Jo, aš įsivaizduoju, taip pat ir su darbais yra, kai žmonės, pavyzdžiui, nerašo CV, kažkur nesinčia, nes galvoja, kad kažko trūksta. Nes iš tikrųjų turbūt visko ir užtenka, bet nerašo dėl to, kad atrodo, kad trūksta kažko. Ir taip susideda viskas į daug dalykų, kurie iš esmės vienas kitą. Nes ten karts nuo karto tenka stebėti, LinkedIn'e, kai įmeta yra labai skirtingi. Vienas įmeta žmogus ten open source projektą pradėjęs daryti, ten kosmosas ką moka, o kitas, ten vos ne HTML ir JavaScript pagrindai ir, buvo aplikuoja, kuris iš jų gudresnis, turbūt tas, kuris pagrindus tik turi, nes, jis vis tiek susirinks, ko jam reikia, po to jam pasakys, galbūt to toks, gerai, ten daugiau dėmesio. Nes šiaip kursas yra beproto ilgas ir didelis ir, ta visa informacija, kai tu jau naują pradedi mokytis, ta pirmin jau užsimiršta. Tai, reikia labai taip rinktis visgi, ką mokytis.
Ok, Gintautai?
Okay. My point is kind of similar to my colleagues, is that you need to do things, learn or practice every day, because after some time your knowledge will be lost. So the most important thing here is to learn every day in a structural way, learning a bit of theory, practicing on Kaggle, on CodeSignal, or any other websites. So yeah, it's short, but it's important to practice every day.
Great. So maybe the audience, do you have any questions? Great. We have your question.
Okay. So, I have tried to learn to code, basics, I think, and I was doing really well with basics by myself, and then I have reached a point where I couldn't develop myself further, because there is this some gap that nobody talks about, like how do you go from basic to intermediate? And that distance between basic and intermediate is some like a twilight zone that's just like, what are those steps that take you from basic to intermediate? It's really easy to get stuck in basics and do some really comfortable stuff that makes you feel good about yourself, but you're not really advancing. And at some point, online material is not enough, so I'm wondering what is.
What's your name?
Ruta.
So Ruta asks excellent question, which we luckily have solved. We'll tell you the answer really soon. So she's asking what to do when you have, watched five Coursera's courses about some programming topic, and you want to move further, I guess, get a job right?
Perhaps develop a project that functions.
All right. Yeah, or develop, like, basically, I have this definition: be job ready. Doesn't matter what you want to do with your knowledge. If you are job ready, you have the maximum amount of options. You can start your startup, you can do a project, you can apply the thing at work, basically whatever you want to do, or you can get a job. So how to go from beginner to job ready? And do you want to target somebody in particular in the group, or like let's
No, like I would like to hear everyone's opinion.
maybe so before everybody speaks, do we have any volunteers on this one?
Could we clarify the question? Is it to reach the gap between the learning beginners things like loops and whatsoever and making intermediate projects, or is it going from small beginner stuff and be job ready, because it's a way bigger gap than from beginner to intermediate?
Ruta, can you clarify?
Yeah, that would help.
Now there are two questions, I think.
I would very much advise you to answer the question how to be job from wherever you are to the job ready, because there is really no gap between loops and like understanding object-oriented programming. This gap is basically meaningless because you cannot do anything. I mean, you bridge this gap, you now know object-oriented programming, you know data structures and algorithms. So what? But it basically doesn't improve your options. So are you happy with my update?
I like participation.
So how to go from a newbie to a job ready software engineer?
Yeah, Donatas, go.
Yeah, I guess he's a good candidate.
Yeah, you have an experience on it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure if that is a good, I don't know, example, but I think maybe, I'm not sure if that's answering the question, but I think a lot of things you get when you start with the basics of programming is you get a very clear algorithmic way to solve, I don't know, problems. If there's a math issue or something that you're trying to solve and you find a way to solve it. And to go to the next level, probably you need to, as Rolanda said, do some projects. And with that, you'll need to use libraries or other material, stuff that other people have coded and made ready for you. And things, well, how it works with those things is you don't know how they work. You can know how to use it, but you won't know how it works. Something that's very clear about the basics of the programming is that you know the algorithm, you thought of the algorithm yourself, but when you start using other people's software, you just learn how to use it. It's a tool. So I think it's like a little bit of a different step that you go from actually thinking your own solution from the start to the finish. You start incorporating things from other people, libraries, methods, things like those, and you don't know how they work, you just use them. You kind of give away this knowledge about how your program works, but it actually works after that. I don't know if that's a good answer.
All right, so thanks, Donatas. Can you give the mic to Aiste? I didn't know that she was.
Signal lost.
Sorry. Oh no.
Where are we? So I didn't know that Aiste was a developer only for 1 year. So I guess your experience is quite recent. So can you tell us about your path from knowing, I don't know, nothing to getting the first job?
Actually, I started learning. My first job is with the PHP, and I started learning by myself. And then I actually came to this similar point where I was stuck and I couldn't find anything online that would go somewhere further from this beginner topics. And with PHP, I went to courses as well, which were paid courses, not free. And there was a teacher. He was also a university teacher. He taught a lot. He taught a framework, and that was really useful for the job. And as with Python, I currently don't have a job and don't feel job ready yet. But I think when I started, I also didn't really know the resources. So I think you either need to be really good at searching for those resources, because there actually are, with Python, there are resources for intermediate and higher levels. And so you either need to find them yourself or find some mentor or just go to some courses.
Right, great answer. Does anybody else want to share their path?
I would suggest if you're stuck, maybe on a certain point on a project, I would advise you to ask for help, because it's really important. If you get stuck for hours, months, or years, not going to be good for you. You're going to get frustrated, angry at yourself, because hey, I'm stupid and I can solve this. And so you should ask help in forums like Stack Overflow, Stack Exchange, and various chat forums, and you should ask them to explain, like, for a baby, what does it is, why this function calls that, why that, and after a certain amount of time, you'll get, oh, I understand this, wow, and you get from that point of being stuck and to, oh, I know this thing, I know that, and you can build on top of that and try to, like, make a better and intermediate project. So yeah, my tip for you is to ask for help. Well, not immediately, like not for after an hour or two, but maybe if you're stuck for a few days or in a week, I should suggest putting a thread on a new question on Stack Overflow and answering that helps really well from my own experience.
Great, so thanks Gintautas. I guess we have to move further. So if you want to talk about this particular, it's like very interesting topic. We can like maybe spend an hour talking about it. If you have like if you want additional clarification, let's do that after the meetup during the networking section. Basically not after the meetup, during the networking section of the meetup. So I saw that we have more questions, right? No, you had a question.
Yeah, I basically had a comment regarding what the guy said about this question. So it turns out that in order to advance, if you have a certain issue, you need to basically ask someone for help. Now, that basically leads to something like, okay, it's actually possible to join a project that somebody's working on, and you've got like, different aspects of the project and you kind of don't know, but be part of it, and basically you have two options. You learn stuff, and at the same time you can ask people, how it's done. So the question basically is, are there any kind of groups or projects that other people can join and say, okay, well, my knowledge is that level, I can help with that stuff, but I want to learn other bits as well. So is there anything like that available, or?
I just make what you said like available for everybody. So what he's saying that you should join some kind of project when you are stuck. So you can, if you join a project, you have immediately something to work on, to practice, and immediately you get help from the other people who are working on this project. So that's a great idea. And you asked is there any are there any projects like that? I'm not sure. Maybe the panel knows. I guess open source projects are obvious candidates, but they might be a bit too advanced for a beginner. Right? So do we have any volunteers? Yeah, take the mic, please.
Jo, kai šiaip pradėjau, mokytis, tai ten buvo, tiksliau, 2 ar 3 projektai, bet galutiniam variante, tai priklausomai ką darai, jeigu dirbi, tai automatiškai neturi laiko. Tai tada gaunasi, kaip kartu jūs darysit, jeigu, ta prasme, jeigu dirbat, tai nėra tam tiek to laiko. O tai kas gavosi po tų 2 projektų, gavosi taip, kad vis tiek iki galo pats vienas padarai tą, nes tas, kuris prisijungia, arba neturi laiko, arba neturi kantrybės. Tai, dažniausiai liksi vienas, nu mano atveju. Gal įmanoma kažką ten išvesti, bet nu man kol kas nelabai pasisekė. Gal tiesiog gal daugiau žmonių reikėjo kalbinti, bet kažkaip nepaėjo su tais projektais. Greičiausiai užsienio rinkoje tą darytų, nu ne rinkoje, grupėse būtų geriau, ten Facebook'e visas prisijungti ir tada klausinėk, manau, kažkas atsakys. Ten, nu, yra 1000 tų grupų. Ir kažką gal ir ten surasi, bet vėlgi kaip tu ten, tai sunku biškai įsivaizduoti. Dabar kai tą visą praėjau, supratau, kad, tarsi, arba tu moki ir darai nuo iki, bet jeigu tu moki to projekto nereikia ir tu nedirbi, arba tu tą mokaisi, bet jeigu tu mokaisi, tu nelabai ką galėsi padėti. Taip gaunasi toks paradoksas, kad atrodytų, nes tokiai pačiai situacijai buvo, atrodo, čia prisijungsi prie projektų, išmoksi labai daug. Taip nėra, nes jeigu tu nori prisijungti prie projektų, turi kažką mokėti, jeigu tu kažką moki, tu gali pats padaryti. Tai ir gaunasi taip, nei taip. Aišku, ten yra dėl ko yra frontendas, backendas, ten tie šitie dalykai, nes gali paskirsti darbus. Ten DevOpsai, kurie jau po to deploymentais irgi, ta prasme, čia yra kelios nišos ir jas gali išskirsti. O jeigu, pavyzdžiui, mokosi abu 2 backendo, tai kaip tai turėtų veikti?
I guess once, there must be like a lead who will split the work.
Yeah, who will be that lead? If we lead, we must have some kind of knowledge, like big knowledge, I think, to like give tasks for everyone.
Yeah, that's how the big projects are made. I mean, like,
Ja, tai dėl šito irgi tikriausiai galėsim pakalbėti po, čia vėl didelė tema, kaip tai daryti, yra daug atsakymų. Galėsim pakalbėti per networkingą, manau, subursime grupelės, kas kam aktualu. Tai ačiū Rolandai, ačiū kitiems dalyviams. I also have a question. I want to move the discussion further. So the last question about learning is, what would you tell a person who wants to start learning artificial intelligence? So first of all, we have quite varying backgrounds here. We have people who have never touched, who have maybe touched a bit of coding, but they're not professional developers in any way. And we have people who are professional developers but just joined Vilnius School of AI, so we are just in the initial phases. And we have senior citizens in Vilnius School of AI, like Donatas, who have started, and Rolandas, I guess, who have started almost in the very beginning and have the most experience with both. They knew how to code, and they are now in the A class and B class respectively, and have learned for quite a long time. So the question again is, what you would tell a person who wants to start learning AI? Let's start with Gintautas as our newest member.
Sure. Well, the question is not that simple, but my answer will be simple. Just start it. That's it. Because if you hesitate, if you this is too hard, no, I'm not gonna start, so I'm gonna just push the date and the time. And so my advice for you guys who want to learn this huge subject of an important subject of AI, so just start it either through Vilnius School of AI or through online courses. I just recommend to start it. That's it.
Great. Can you pass the mic to Justas?
Okay, so I would add to the starting point, also you need some commitment. For example, for me, I had some background in C language. I did some courses on Udacity and other massive online open platforms. But the problem was always that you start for a couple of weeks and then there comes the period where you don't have enough time. And during that period, you lost all the interest and then you just stop doing it. But if you join something like workshops, you get that commitment level and then you can push on because you don't want to get back in the group, because everything you are doing as a group. So if someone is not doing what he's supposed to do, it's on your consciousness. So it's better if you're doing it in a group rather than alone. So I would say find a group.
Right, can you pass it to Aista?
I think that it actually depends from person to person one person, well, if you are disciplined personality, then you can learn it yourself in online courses and similar. For me, I am not very disciplined, so I decided to join live courses, and that works for me. So yeah, well, so far I know. Well, of course, you can go also to university and learn there. So there are different possibilities that you can choose from.
Right, great. So thanks, Aiste. Any questions from the audience? We have one question right there.
Taking into the account that most of you or all of you guys have works and personal lives, how much time do you spend learning AI or working with the workshops? How much time would you be satisfied with spending on maybe weekly or daily basis?
Right, I just want to tell his question like a bit louder. So he's asking that most of us have personal lives and other commitments. How many hours per week or day do you spend learning artificial intelligence? So I guess we can start from Rolandus and move from there.
It depends on the course, but a minimum is, I think, 1 hour a day. It's like a minimum. But if you can't commit 1 hour a day, it will be very hard for you to continue, because the pace is like fast. It's for me. I don't know.
Yeah, so adding to my colleague's answer, yeah, you should commit probably a half of your free time, 50%. Well, it takes a lot of time to read the material, to do the tasks, maybe ask a colleague or two if you can get some like solution to a problem. So yeah, but if you want a numerical value, well, that would be 8-10 hours maybe would be probably in a medium range. So you would progress with 8 and 10 hours per week. Less than that, you're cutting pretty short.
Well, actually, when I started learning, there was quite a requirement that you should spend at least 10 hours per week. So I think that's quite realistic requirement, and I actually spend a bit less. I don't know, maybe 5 hours, and that is not enough.
All right. So thanks. I guess most of you spend like a similar amount. I just want to move to another point. Sorry, Eustace, for interrupting you. So I guess you will be answering the next question, which is so let's move from learning to maybe products and production AI. Let's talk about the industries and products which you think will be disrupted by artificial intelligence and deep learning. So what do you think will be the products, industries, or whatever else companies which will be disrupted by the new wave of deep learning solutions?
In Lithuania?
Everywhere in the world.
So, because my background is from energy sector, so it's kind of obvious that it will disrupt energy sector. So yeah, and it is even happening right now. For example, in our electricity networks, we have a lot of data. We have basically 130,000 kilometers of lines, cable lines, and we have about 40,000 assets. So we have a lot of data, and we try to think what to do with that data. And the first thing is to try to measure the asset health. So what that means is when we need to do the maintenance of our assets, we are looking mostly into the date when it was built or installed. But if you could look at their current health, their current condition, we could be able to maybe optimize it even more and maybe have some savings. So even now we have already like signed contracts with two companies, one from USA, another from France, and they are working on our historical data to try to come up with some smart algorithms and then be able to say that. And maybe one more thing that is also coming into the energy sector is again the again for the assets is the drones they're flying and capturing all those images of our assets, and then instead of some person having to manually go to a specific place and figure out what's wrong there could be drones flying everywhere and they could capture all the data, and then from that data use some computer vision and then try to find the cause of the issue of those troubles that we experience. So.
Great, very interesting. So it's really nice to get the person from the industry. I would ask, make this question a little bit more global. And now, Donatas, your turn. Try to tackle this one on a global scale.
All right. So I think maybe a better question would be, what fields AI won't disrupt? Because probably everything could be improved and done by some part by AI in some field of time in the future. But I guess near future and the most disruptive, what I see, is probably self-driving cars. That's a pretty obvious one, but when you look at the news and you see, oh no, a Tesla self-driving car crashed, it's a huge story, and then you think, when was the last time we saw a global story about a car crash? Really never. So that's a big thing, that a self-driving car crashed, because they probably never do otherwise. And thinking about truck drivers or people, the logistics sector, I don't know, ships, anything, where people need to man vehicles, that's going to be a disruptive change. A person that is cheap and that never crashes, never needs to sleep, you don't really need to pay him wage, that's perfect, right? So nobody needs logistics people, and that's a huge segment of the market. So where do all of those people go, and how do we deal with that? That's a very disruptive thing, and I think that's going to be a very disruptive change.
Great, very interesting. Let's continue with self-driving cars. Rolandai, kaip tu manai, kaip...
Šiaip reiktų nepamiršti prieš bet kokį naujovę, kiek jinai kainuoja. Ir, ta prasme, yra kosminiai pinigai, kiek kainuoja sukurti self-driving karą. Kažkaip niekas to nevertina ir imk bet kokį industriją ir paversk tai, kiek tai kainuojas ir suprasi, kad tai ateis labai ilgai. Ta prasme, tai nebus iškart, nes, iš kur tuos pinigus sieks. Gerai, ten gal persamdys vairuotojus, bet tą technologiją sukurti kainuoja didelius pinigus ir mes bet kurią, jeigu sferą įmam, absoliučiai bet kurią, ją pakeisti, dėti dirbtinį intelektą, tai kosmosas yra. Ir ten, jeigu labai yra didelė kompanija, kuri turi labai daug deitos ir iš tos deitos labai gali pasigaminti, tai tada greitai ateis. Ir nuo to tik priklausys tas greitis ir pokytis, o daugiau tai ten nesvarbu, kad čia atsiranda kažkokių dalykų. Nuo pinigų kiekų priklausys. Kuo jų daugiau bus, kuo daugiau deitos, o pavyzdžiui kažkoks fieldas neturės deitos, tai ten, kažin, kada ten ateis kas nors, arba pinigų. Vienas iš dviejų. Bet ta prasme vis tiek pinigai ir jeigu turimės kažkokias korporacijas, kurios gali naudoti, tai jos ten naudos. Bet jų tai kiek čia yra Google'as, Facebook'as, aišku, yra didelės, bet Tesla, Tesla, bet ta prasme, ten tiek yra barjerų, kad, kai žmonės nežino, jie bijo. Kiek žmonių žino apie mašiną self-driving, kiek ten įsivaizduoja, kad jos ten žudys vieną kitą, pradėkime nuo to, ir kad tą psichologiją pakeisti, čia kiek metų reikia. Taip greit nevyksta. Tikėkime, greit ateis, bet štai kažkaip nemanau.
Jo, labai įdomus požiūris. Aš iš tikrųjų iš dalies pritariu tavo nuomoniai. Antra vertus, manau, kad tai yra labai gera niša padaryti savo startupą, nes venture capital dabar, ypač Europą, kuris stengiasi pasivyti Kinijos ir US rinkas, stengiasi daug pinigų investuoti į AI startupus, kai kada net į startupus, kurie vadinasi tik AI, bet neturi AI komponento. Tikriausiai visi girdėjote istoriją, kad 40% Europos AI startupų nenaudoja iš vis jokio AI sprendimo. Tai visai tikriausiai, galima pažiūrėti kaip į opportunity arba kaip į weakness. Galbūt weakness, kad neseks rinkos, nebus taip greitai disruptintos, Antra vertus, realus variantas išmokus, kad ir po Vilnius School of AI išmokus tiek technologijų, kažkiek deep learning gali padaryti savo startupą.
Nu, tikėkimės, kažkas padarys. Tikiuosi, labai tikiuosi.
We have a question, like a...
It's not a question, it's more like a comment.
Right?
For example, when we are talking about self-driving cars, then of course, unless you are talking about professional drivers, otherwise you kind of don't see much of a gain. But professional drivers are expensive, so hence it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of regulations. So what you do then? When you can go into the warehouses. Because in the huge warehouses, there is a lot of moving cars, but there are no regulations.
Yes.
So basically, you can do self-driving cars, which just move
But
goods.
then it depends on how much money does company have. Because this technology is not cheap. And
That's true.
how many warehouses have robots inside? Alibaba maybe, and
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yes,
Yeah.
Amazon.
But I just visited one factory lately and asked like, okay, how many people you have? 500. Okay, and the majority of those people are working in warehouses. So
Yes,
yes, production is automated, production is supervised by engineers, but out of those 500, majority of them work in warehouses.
Because workforce labors are cheap. If you are comparing to technology,
They are not.
Not anymore.
I don't know maybe.
If I may add,
Not anymore. Lithuania is actually moving very fast out of a cheap zone, and that's coming.
if I may add about the regulations.
All right. Can you take the mic, please?
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, so if I may add about the regulations, I've seen one interesting thing about drones. Drones have hell much regulations everywhere. Basically, you can fly them nowhere. But there are some companies that are creating huge drone solutions and networks and flying in cities and throughout the country in Africa. They're taking a country that isn't that sophisticated in technology, and they're making the fact that they don't have any regulations and creating their business there as a show-off, so that when they have their technology sophisticated, the countries, the wealthy countries, see this as an example. It works. Here, nobody's dying, and they can just move into the big markets. And I think maybe also self-driving cars and technologies like these, the dangerous ones, could start, I don't know, be beta tested in these maybe smaller technology, I don't know, countries, and then moved into the real markets.
All right. So that's very interesting. I think let's move about let's continue about the regulations. Probably most of us know that we in Europe, in the European Union, we have this thing called GDPR, and which is basically trying to protect the user data. I know some people, like some lawyers, my friends, really hate this one, and I actually myself had some problems with GDPR. I want to ask the participants' take on GDPR. Do you think that the European Union is at a disadvantage because it limits, the data usage so much, whereas countries like China and the United States, or even the whole continent, maybe mostly of Africa, they are not limiting the thing? So what's your take on that? And can I please get the mic to Gintautas now?
Sure. You could say that Europe is at disadvantage when talking about data protection laws and GDPR, but meanwhile, look at what China is doing. China is implementing this sort of social credit system where the state, based on user data, classifies people. Are you a trustworthy person? Are you going to make a crime? So meanwhile, when looking at this GDPR thing, you're looking, oh, this is evil thing. Let companies access our data, but the states, and especially the evil ones, we could probably agree China is not a very friendly nation. She's, making product out of data while protecting the regime. So it's very important that data is being used right in the right way, not to control people, not to rate them on basis of are you likely to do a crime or are you against the state and so on. So I think it's, on one hand, it's a disadvantage, but I think you don't want to become a second China.
Right. Can I get Ice's opinion on this one?
In some cases, it can be disadvantage, but actually, European companies are not limited to collecting data necessarily only from Europe. GDPR is also like it protects only European citizens, and so European companies can more easily collect data like from USA or other countries, while other countries have same limitations for collecting information from Europe. So it's just like limiting the pool from which data can be collected.
Right. That's actually very, very smart. We did that at our own company. We used USA citizens' data for our like training the models, but we didn't figure this one out like until like a month after we started the project. So that we could just take a market which is outside the regulation. So I really like that ISTA came up with this one like immediately. So great. Good. I want to ask finally Eustace the same question.
I would maybe add to what already was told that one drawback of GDPR is that it increases a lot in bureaucracy. So, for example, if you want to get some data, some sensitive data, you need to sign non-disclosure agreement, and for that non-disclosure agreement, you need to have you need to be reviewed. Maybe you are from Russia, then it's totally no. And then if you're not from Russia, then it could be possible to give you data, but then there are some meetings, some time wasted, and some I would say some productive hours wasted just to give you that data. So, but of course it's important to be used in the right way. I agree with that.
All right. Thanks for your opinions. I want to talk a little bit more about the community and the people. So my question now is, do you think that more people should learn artificial intelligence? We actually have a very small AI expert community. I recently was in a conference, like a small conference in foreign ministry. We had like a full day meeting, like full day conference about artificial intelligence and like new technologies. So like one expert estimated that in Lithuania we have between 500 and 1,000 artificial intelligence experts. So do you think that we should have more artificial people going into artificial intelligence, or do you think that's like enough and we are good as is? So I want to ask this question. I want to pass the mic to Rolandas now.
I think market regulates itself, and why we have a 500 like artificial intelligence experts, because market is so. We don't have very a lot of jobs in artificial intelligence. I think. I checked. And 500, I think it's a lot. Like in Lithuania, it's a lot. But expert in that field is very valuable, and if you want to get some mastery in it, it's a good choice, because you can work not in Lithuania, you can work on any country, and I think it will have a value for your life if you are doing this.
All right. So I want to give you a comparison. We have a very, very rough estimate. Maybe you have a better estimate. We have about 11 to 12,000 software developers, like professional software developers in Vilnius. So like the AI machine learning engineer in Vilnius. So it's pretty tiny compared to the whole the general software engineering field. And can you pass the mic to Donatas? Same question. Should more people learn artificial intelligence?
Okay, I think.
Why or why not?
Yeah, I think they should, and one reason why is because there are a lot of possibilities in this field, and maybe we don't need that many experts if the market regulates itself. But you don't need to be an expert; you just need to know how the technology works, to have an idea, to think of some new way to use the technology. And there's a lot of new technology brings a lot of new possibilities for startups, for new companies, and new companies create new positions for other professionals. So maybe the market would create itself by resolving more possibilities, by creating more startups, by seeing more ideas. So if more people are aware of what artificial intelligence is, what it can do, I think more ideas will be realized and more working places will be created. So it's important to learn because that will create the demand, I believe.
All right. Thanks for your answer. I have one
Again,
comment.
If I'm actually old enough to know how web technologies came to Lithuania, because when I started being a developer, web was nothing, and then suddenly it became very big, and everybody had to know. So I have this opinion that actually with artificial intelligence, experts, yeah, they will have a small amount of experts, but on the level of being able to use it and to create a software which uses it, I believe that in near future everybody will have to they will have to know it. Like in 95, 96, pretty much nobody knew web technologies. But suddenly at around 2000, everybody had to. So I believe that some same thing will come.
Yeah, but this is like, I think in like late 90s, it was like on Excel and Microsoft Word. You must know Excel, and I think so. And
Yeah, you must know Excel today as well.
yes, but in
No question.
that days, like you must know Excel to work in office.
Yeah.
And now, and if we have a percentage of what amount of people know Excel, I think it's like the same as now web developers know web development. I think so. Maybe it's not true. And yeah, maybe intelligence will be like next Office or Excel.
I think what the other thing that happens now with artificial intelligence, the technology becomes packaged into libraries and tools and servers, etc. And it becomes usable by average developer, let's put it this way. Because previously, again, artificial intelligence was something that you need the brain of Andrew and G to do something. But now you can just look at Fast AI course 1 hour and suddenly you can recognize dog species.
Yeah.
That's like really the change comes from the usability of the technology itself because of its packaged.
All right, that's a very, very interesting take. We have the time for the last question.
I have an argument for running artificial intelligence that I didn't hear mentioned. And that argument is, even if you don't plan on doing anything with AI, the reason you should learn artificial intelligence is to build your own bullshit radar. Next time somebody tries to sell you a vacuum cleaner powered by artificial intelligence, you'll be able to tell at a glance that is there actually any AI involved. As you mentioned yourself, maybe 40% of startups that claim to be using AI, they're not actually using AI, they're just using it as a buzzword, just like cryptocurrency was a buzzword 2 years ago. So if you have even a basic level of understanding, you can ask the right questions like how you collect your data. can we even collect your data considering you're operating exclusively with a European audience? You just get this kind of feeling that maybe you're being sold a bridge.
All
It's
right.
a very good reason to invest a little bit.
That's, I guess that's an excellent point. Don't be scammed by people who are selling you artificial intelligence. They might not be using it at all. So amazing. That was the last. That was the time, all the time which we had. Now we are moving